Hey YouTube, I know I'm late on this topic, but this caught my attention while I was looking up stuff on Bring Back Toonami. I just now watched a news report about Trey Sesler, aka Mr. Anime, and it's just wow. I actually did some research before deciding to make this video just now, so. I was like, oh wow, he killed his family in cold blood. That's just, it's hard to imagine. I mean, to even comprehend. I mean, who would even want to comprehend something like that? I mean, it's very disgusting and disturbing. And I don't even know the guy personally. I mean, I never even watched his reviews. But after seeing the report, of course, I watched some of the videos just to see just what kind of person, like how he kind of comes off, and he comes off as normal. Like you would never think he was like that insane. I'm not trying to imply that he was. Well, obviously he was, because to do something right, he'd have to be insane. But he but he probably didn't come off as that way to anyone. And I know I watch a lot of movies and TV, but I don't go around doing stuff like that. I don't even try. But as far as things go, I can tell you that little kids will try to imitate something on TV, but this person, he was he was trying to imitate real life. And one of the reports I read, it sounded like something out of a movie, because the sheriff said that, oh, he walked in the house, he found the mother's dead body in the garage. Walks the the other police are walking through the rest of the house. They find the brother's bathroom body in the bathroom, and the father's body in the master bedroom, and black marker written on the wall. Why did I do this? I love my mom and my brother and my dad. I mean, it's all just scripted, like something out of a movie. And the best comparison I could come up with is probably Scream, because you know how the movie, the killers are always going after that one person, being Sidney Prescott, and while they're planning on killing her, they're planning on this whole story of making it seem like they're the victims. So I mean, that's what this seems like. Like I've heard of family killers, but this takes the expression and makes it literal. I mean, yes, there's been reports like this in the past where people have killed a family member or something, but this is, the person pretty much murdered the whole family, their own family. I mean, it's like, wow, it's scary to hear about news like this. And I think it all comes down to this person's obsession with guns. I mean, because obviously they had like an obsession with guns, and more notably, as it turns out, they had an obsession with all these serial killers and murderers, and even more notably, the Columbine massacre incident that occurred a few years back. And he basically said that he was plotting to recreate the experience somehow while confessing to these murders. It's like, what? So, I mean, he's already getting arrested for this, but is this part of his bigger plan to carry out that several years later? Maybe. I mean, who knows? people don't want to think that, and even though he is good at reviews, I gotta give him that. He is great at the reviews. This is horrible for everyone in general, not just the anime community, but everyone in general. What's hard about this for the anime community is the fact that it was just this one person that does anime reviews, and just because he uses the name Mr. Anime, it affects the anime community, just by his name, because his name is Mr. Anime associated with this. The mass media is bound to try to point out that, hey, it was what he watched on TV that made him do this. Like, media has done in the past with horror films, with cartoon shows, like, things like Tom and Jerry, that American created things that are violent in themselves. So you can't just, anyone who tries to say it was anime is no different than any American entertainment, because Tom and Jerry, you have these three characters hitting each other with a frying pan, a baseball bat, a tennis racket. Those are just a few examples. And what about Looney Tunes? There's anvils, pianos, dynamite, and guns. So even just as Popeye, there's riots going on. I can name millions of examples, but those are just some of the top of my head. So it has nothing to do with the form of entertainment, but actually I can say maybe in some cases it does, because if you think about it, the news of serial murders fascinated this person, so he would actually study them and give them grades, so to him, real life events like the news was pretty much entertainment. So if there's any kind of entertainment influence, that was it. It was the fact that he was being inspired by real life events to try to go out there and recreate some of these, or at least one of these major real life events. And it's just like they say in Scream 4, you don't have to achieve anything to get noticed now. You're just gonna have some kind of tragedy happen to you. And that's exactly what happened here. Like, yes, he achieved it, he killed his family, but it's still a tragedy, so he didn't have to really do anything. I mean, someone else could have came and murdered his family, and he would get famous off of that. Like, he was already famous on YouTube, so he's well known on YouTube, but now he's even more so. He's known outside of the world of the internet, because he was known on the internet, but now he's known even on, because he was broadcasted on live television. At least, the story was. So that gives him recognition, and in the worst way possible. I mean, I also heard about the report where two kids were reenacting Naruto, but of course they were young. Like, I'm not sure of their exact ages, but let's say maybe around 6, 7, 8 at most, maybe a year or two older. But within those ages, like, kid that watches Naruto, yes, they're going to try imitating it. Versus, like, let's say someone who's maybe 10, like, they'll know, like, hey, this is a cartoon, so I shouldn't imitate it, but I enjoy it. I mean, because as a kid, you enjoy the action things, but if you're really, really young, you might imitate it. Like, here's an example for me, like my niece. I have a niece she's 3 years old. She likes Dora the Explorer. Like, if a lot of you have kids, or if you're 16 or whatever, and you have a little brother, little sister that they like watching shows like Dora too. The character Swiper the Fox, right? He's always They go, Swiper, no swiping. Well, you know how he takes an item and he throws it somewhere, and he'll say, "You'll never find it now." Well, my niece, she's in the phase where she imitates things, and she actually does. Or at one point, she did imitate that. I mean, so when a kid of a very young age watches something like that, of course, they're gonna think, I could do that too. They're gonna try to imitate it because they don't know any better. They're not that age where it can pretty much get into their heads like, hey, I know that this is make believe. I like to make believe in everything, but I know that I cannot really do this. I mean, in some cases, yes, maybe even 10-year-olds still don't get it because, everyone is able to pick up things at different ages, but some are slower than others. Some are faster, so that's how that works out. But in this case, this is an adult, and entertainment and sense of anime, movies, music, they didn't influence him. It sounds like his own passion for weapons and his own violent habits. I mean, killing animals, killing your pets, to the point where it's like, okay, now it's time to move on to the next big thing. Real life people. And what better targets than my own family members? That's what it seems, it sounds like. And it might seem like I'm trying to paint this nasty picture of the person, but the sad truth is, they painted this own picture of themselves. I mean, I never even heard of the guy until maybe, like, I probably saw a mention of it, but I didn't think anything of it to look at it before, because sometimes you'll see things and you're like, oh, it's probably nothing, and then, but it's like, what? Why did this come up? So, curiosity, you look at it, and then you find out, like, whoa, that's horrible and serious. So yes, this is a serious topic. And anyone that watches my videos, you know that I've been talking about Toonami for the past week or so, or two. So, but this was something that I thought, wow, this is important, and I thought I just had to, say something about this. Like, it affects, especially to people that say, hey, you're overreacting out there. Like, while yes, there's people that don't read and they don't get all the details, there's also people that they do read, and yes, we know that on the news reports they say it's not anime that caused it, but the fact that the name he used on YouTube, being known as Mr. Anime, he's associated with it. He's associated with it with anime because of his name, so it affects all of us as a community. And I mean, not because of anything in the news reports, but hey, there are those conspiracy theorists out there that they'll try to tell you that it was because he watched too much Bleach, or it's because he watched too much Naruto. Oh, no wait, it's because he watched too much Dragon Ball and he was trying to do a Kamehameha, or whatever, And you can't say that there aren't people out there like that, because, there's all these comments going on, like a comment war about the whole thing. I didn't know this person personally. I didn't even talk to them or know them at all, but just hearing the story, this is like, wow, it even it catches your attention when you hear something like this. I mean, it's one thing when you hear two kids were playing and trying to imitate something, but this is, we're talking a full-grown adult, in college, and someone that's old enough to know the difference between entertainment and reality. And they were trying to recreate reality from a few years back in a different, but with in a different place, different time, and well, pretty much made this whole scene look like a movie. Some like it was some scary movie. It was just, it's like, whoa, this is, you really don't think about these things and how serious they could be until you actually hear about it happening. I mean, and I'm not saying that, and remember, like as I said, I'm not saying that entertainment influenced this. I repeat, I am not saying entertainment influenced this. Real life events influence this, and that is a fact based on the reports. I mean, if you're planning on doing a scenario similar to the Columbine shooting massacre, then yes, that's inspired by a real life event. I mean, because right there you're saying, hey, I want to recreate this event, and that you'd have to be pretty sick in the head to do that. I mean, I've talked to someone on my PS3 because I'm a gamer, and we all know Jack Thompson tries to say games are the cause of violence before. Like, the same thing was said about movies, the same thing was said about TV shows. So, that it's back to TV shows, just this time they're attacking Japanese TV shows. And there's a different maturity expectancy overseas, because in Japan, what's acceptable for a 6-year-old to watch is acceptable for a 13-year-old over here. Like, it's considered acceptable for a 13-year-old, and what's considered for 18 here is usually considered acceptable for ages 15 in Japan. So, different things in different, countries slash regions are acceptable. But murder, that's one crime that's still never acceptable, no matter where you are in the world. I mean, it's unacceptable. And this, I mean, I wonder how he's gonna live with himself. I mean, it sounds like he's remorseful, but what if it's part of his plan, I mean, again, I don't know this person personally, so I'm not trying to imply that they're some vicious monster, but they definitely painted their own picture of themselves. So, but this is just one of those things, like, you hear about it and you gotta talk about it, you gotta get your thoughts out there, and that's just what I'm doing. I mean, I love games and anime, don't get me wrong, and yes, I like to do some roleplay, but not to the point where I'm grabbing real weapons or even at all. Like, the most I do is I dance around. Like, if I do that kind of roleplay, I don't even try doing no fighting roleplay. But hey, I mean, I don't even dress up, and I would love to go to a convention at least once and dress up, to get the experience. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to do it all the time. I mean, I'm just as normal as anyone else. Like, I don't know too many people, but I am not so much of a loner. Like, I'll go out with my sister places. I'll go to the gym at times with my sister. I will do other things, but I do love my anime, just like any other anime fan. So it's just, wow. It's wild to hear this kind of news. But anyway, this is all I wanted to say. I went on for like 20 minutes now. Anyway, rate, comment. I'm not really expecting people to subscribe, but if you want to, go ahead, even though I don't recommend it sometimes, because I do make some random videos whenever I go to friends' places and stuff, so I look all crazy, but but trust me, it has nothing to do with weapons. I mean, if anything, I love posters and all, but like I'll collect, but it's like, hey, don't give me no gun. Anyway, have a good night, y'all. I'm Cute Gamer Guy. Comment, rate. You don't have to subscribe. I say do what you want there, but I have to hear other people's thoughts on this matter. As much as, well, about what I said. Um, anyway, good night, y'all. I'll make another video soon.